All right, so this week what I want you to do is to animate a reference. I want you to animate a physical action. So it could be any number of things. It could be a series of things. It could be something very simple. I want you to do whatever you feel comfortable with. Now, to do this, what we're looking for is a realistic action. I'm picturing something that would be good for a video game where, in a video game, they have fight sequences and things like that. So things where it would be like, jumping and punching or kicking or doing a series of spin kicks and all sorts of cool, fun stuff. Things like that are what I'm sort of picturing. You could also do just like a parkour segment, right? So you do like a quick parkour sort of animation, all right? So what you'd want to do is just go to YouTube, okay? And then I would just look up animation reference, and you will find all sorts of ones here, okay? So I went to this playlist, and I got this one. I'm like, okay, this is pretty simple. I feel like this would be good for our illustration purposes. You can do something more complicated, but if you really don't feel comfortable, just do something as simple as this. And you can see when we watch it, it's just her punching, and that's it, right? So it's pretty straightforward. She steps forward, punches, and then steps back. It's only 4 seconds long, so it'd be kind of a weird game animation, but the idea is to obviously learn how to animate as well. And the nice thing is with this is because it gives us a side and a front view, that'll make it easier actually for animation purposes as well, okay? Once you find a video you want to use, it's going to be really hard to kind of scrub in here. I mean, you kind of can do it, but I have no idea what frame this is. It just tells me seconds. So it would be better. Can you change that actually? I don't know if there is a way. Well, anyway, it would be better to actually download this video. Well, that is, I guess, technically illegal, but I think it is, I don't know. If you go to YouTube and then just look up download YouTube video, here's one right here. I just click on that guy. Then it wants the URL. So I just go here, I copy the URL, Control C or Command C if you're on a Mac, and then Control V, hit convert, and through the magic of technology, it's going to say get the link. It's going to want me to do something, block that, and then just hit download. And then it will download the video, and you will have your video right here, okay? Which is great. Now, we're still going to run into a slight issue here because if you look, you'll see that it wants to run in what do you call it? Whatever the native program is for Windows. I wouldn't suggest doing that just because, again, it's not really super great for working with. So I would download either VLC Media Player or QuickTime is even better. Or you can even bring the footage into like a nonlinear editor if you have one that you want to use or whatever. But I wouldn't play it in the default. So for me, I'm just going to go ahead and play this in QuickTime. So open with, and then I'm just going to do QuickTime Player. I downloaded it earlier. Apparently I had already installed it. It's going to pop open, and hopefully, come on, QuickTime. Where'd you go? I did click on it, right? There it goes. Okay. And you can see here, it's a little bit better to work with. The nice thing is it does give you the frame numbers right there. So, but you can see I can much easily scrub, and you can even use your arrow keys to move frame by frame, which is nice. So I suggest QuickTime. The other thing I want to double check on, and you should do this too, is that again, if we use this, if you go to Windows, show Movie Inspector, it'll actually tell you the frame rate, and it's 25 frames per second. I'm going to run 24. 25 is fine. Obviously, this is pale, but it should be fine. It's close enough. Also, again, if you're in Windows, I think if you hover over it, it will... Oh, it doesn't. Okay, if I right-click on it, though, and go to Properties, it should give me a... Where are you? I thought it would give me the frame rate. Details. Here we go. 25 frames per second. Okay, so you should be able to figure it out from that as well. Okay. The main thing is I don't care what video editor you use. Like I said, QuickTime, VLC probably works as well. What I care about is that you can scrub through it so that you can look at the frames and then you know what you're working with. Okay, so that's the idea here. So this should be pretty straightforward. So download the video, get it like this, and then once you have that, what you're going to want to do, okay, is this. You should have your rig file here. What we're going to do is we're going to set up a new scene with this guy all set up, okay? So This is just the rig. It says like Wolvie rig V04. What I want to do next actually is save this as just rig. So I'm just going to save this file, save scene as. Save scene as. And apparently my project is not set, because notice it was going to the wrong thing. So we'll just do set project and desktop. And where are you? Wolverine rig. Okay. And set. Okay. And now we'll save as file, save scene as. And instead of all this other business, it's just going to be Wolverine underscore rig. Okay. The reason why we're doing this is that I can take this file and I'm going to reference it in as many scenes as I want. And I'll know that rig will be my last version. Okay. Now, obviously there's numbers here, but if for some reason, the animators are using our rig, we can always go back and, I would use the same one here, this Wolverine 4 rig, and I would make Wolverine rig V05. Okay. But then I would also save over top of Wolverine rig. If I referenced in all my scenes Wolverine rig V04, I would have to save either over top of that, which means I would lose, saving as increments because I wouldn't have a previous version anymore because I would just keep saving over the last version. Or they would have to re-reference the scene and reference the new version, V05. But if instead what I do is I just keep saving 2 every time, so as I keep going, I'll do V05, V06, V07, and I'll keep that for myself, but I will also always save over top of Wolvie rig. And so whoever is in my thing will just always grab Wolvie rig, and that will always be the latest version. They won't even be aware that these exist. They're just going to use this one, okay? But that's the reason for it. That's why we're doing that. So I'm going to hit save as. All right. And then what we're going to do is a new scene. So just do file, new scene. And what we're going to do is we're going to reference the scene in. So you're just going to go file, create reference. And then you're going to go Wolverine rig and reference. And there we go. And now what we can do is start animating it. Now the reason why we reference it in is that, watch this. If I grab this and hit delete, nope. You cannot delete blah, 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 because it has read-only children. Basically, I can't break the rig or really do anything to it because it's being referenced in. It's just like when you are in InDesign and you reference in pictures, right? When you do place, that's the same idea. Or if you're, again, in a non-linear editor like After Effects or Premiere or something, when you drag footage in, it doesn't exist in the scene. It's merely referencing something. This is referencing the other scene. So I can interact with it and animate on it. However, it's not actually in this scene. So that way, again, if I have multiple scenes, I just keep bringing this character in each one of them. If I change the source, it will fix it for all of them. That's the idea. Okay. If I were to just bring that character in here, not reference, but just import it, if there was something broken, I'd have to fix it in this scene, and then any other scene, if it was referenced or brought in, imported in, I have to fix it in all the scenes. But by referencing, I can just fix the source one, and it would automatically fix all the other ones that it's referenced in. So that's the idea behind it. All right. So at this point, we now have, let's actually do one last thing before we get done here. The other thing I want to do is just set this up for better animation purposes. So I'm going to get rid of the outliner. That's not particularly helpful. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that off. And what we're going to do is I'm just going to do panels, layouts. And we're going to do 3 pane split top. It's going to look like this. Okay. On the one on the right, I'm going to do panels, perspective. That's great. And then the one on the left here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a camera that's going to be like my looking through camera. So I'm going to go to create cameras, and we'll just do a regular camera. Okay, there it is right there. Now, if you go to perspective, or panels perspective, you'll see camera 1. There it is. And I'm just going to back this thing up and rotate this around. All right. I'm also going to click on this resolution gate so I can see what I'm actually going to shoot. And we are just going to get this into a view that I like. Once I'm happy with it, I'm going to hit this little lock button, and now I can't move it. So now that's locked in position. This will be my working camera. This is my rendered camera. So the idea here is that I can animate and everything over here, but I'm trying to make it look good in this one over here. Okay. As such, I'm just going to get rid of this. This doesn't mean anything to you, but I just need to do display heads up and get rid of poly count. As such, I want to get rid of all this other stuff. So I'm going to do show, none, show, polygons, so now I can see my guy. I'm also going to turn on texturing, which he doesn't have any textures on him apparently. And that looks fine. I mean, I could also do other things too, where I would put lights and shadows and all that, but he doesn't have anything of that anyway. And then over here, I'll leave everything on that I can rig, but that way I can see him as he looks, and over here will be the one I'm actually animating in. And then down here is going to be the graph editor. So we're just going to go panels, panel, and then we want graph editor. And this is actually for when we start animating, we'll see the animation in a graph here. So we're just trying to set this up so that way we can animate a little bit easier. The other thing I'm going to do, because I want to make sure that I'm not accidentally selecting anything I don't want to, I'm going to go to, this is saying object mode, this is component mode. See how it turns into components? Stay in object mode. These are all the things that are currently selectable. I'm going to turn off, I don't want to accidentally click on the geometry. That's annoying. So I'm going to turn off geometry. I'm going to turn off joints, turn off this, and I'm only going to leave the, because I think I need, will that let me select that? It will not. Okay, so which one is that? That's not geometry, is it? No, it's not geometry. Are you this? It's not this. I don't know which one. I bet it's this guy. Is it this guy? Ah, okay. So we'll turn off all of this, but the curves and the miscellaneous. And now will allow me to grab all the curves, but I can't click any joints. Oops, turn that back off. I can't click any joints. All I can click on are curves and miscellaneous. So these are apparently miscellaneous. All right. And now we'll be ready to animate in the next video. But we have all the scenes set up. We have our footage here ready to go. And yeah, so we'll be ready to go in the next one.